Hmm. All right. I see some errors in this already. So, hmm. Let me see something. Let me see something. I'm gonna do this live too. I don't even really care. Like this is my first time doing this angle. Ha ha. I'm not even gonna clean that up. This is my first time doing this angle, so I kind of want to see. Like I'm gonna mess with the lighting. I think it might be the lighting. It might not be the distance. Let me see something. Because I'm not the lightest of people. Uh-oh. Let's see. But where am I taking up most of my space from? Crash and burn, buddy. Where is this at? So I'm right here, lower right. And if I come over here, if I do this, pull one of these. I see the, okay, hold on. I see it, I think. Let me see. Let me see something. Because that's going to be the, hmm, hmm, I'm not sure. Let me see something. I don't even know. I feel sorry for the one viewer watching this as I try to. Oh, I might have nailed it. Yeah. Yep. I think I kind of nailed it. Hold on. Minor adjustment. I don't know if it's a tilt or if it's a drop. Like that's the. Let me see again. Cause like, so if I'm here, right? So I, hmm, but I'm right here also. Who's in this space? Like that doesn't. Either way. Either way. Matter of fact, hold on. I got it. Yeah. Thank you. I'm so glad that person stopped watching. I'm so glad. Yeah, I like this a little better. All right, that's the one. Yeah. So I'll start here. I'll start here. If you're not prepared, now I feel like that light's too bright. Don't worry about it. We'll get it together. So I'll start here. If you're not prepared, parenting can blindside you because you'll find yourself trying to occupy a space with a title at a time where none of those things matter. So I was having a conversation with an older person today, and they can't seem to get past the traditional idea of the parent child relationship. I asked this person, how is that supposed to look to you? They didn't have an answer. They rarely do. Um, but I don't expect answers from people who are trying to avoid putting themselves at the center of the story because that's the topic. That's who the topic is based off. Uh, and to be clear, I put myself in uncomfortable positions in my own mind. You're so immature that I feel as though when I see something that somebody continues to confront me with a behavior, a mindset, I have the right to call that out because you keep addressing situations with that setting and filter. So now I'm going to speak to it and find out what it is and why it's so unyielding. And there are a lot of people who have unyielding mindsets to the point where their daily narrative is run through two filters or more. Everywhere I go, nobody wants me there. I'm the victim. You know, it's such a frustrating thing to witness. It's such a frustrating thing to witness because it's almost like the person doesn't know that they're doing it. But in saying that, in saying all of that, if you're not prepared, the parent child relationship can blindside you because here's the facts: the child is going to grow and change regardless. The child is going to grow and change regardless, mom and dad. So it's up to you to adjust to that change. You're not going to keep shouting it to make it fit. That's absurd. That's why your relationship is splintered and fractured now. You never adjusted. You're being blindsided by something you should have seen coming. They always tell you keep your guard up, guard your face. Keep like, but y'all not doing that. Y'all just walking around all willy nilly with your hands to the side, getting smacked by things that you should have seen coming. You did not. You did not prepare, which means you didn't prepare your child to prepare. So they too will become someone who gets blinded by things. We we are responsible for our children's thought habits. Yuck. We are responsible for our children's thought habits. What that means is there should be a moral compass that gets laid, right? That moral compass is the moral compass you've role modeled so they know you use it, so they've seen it in action. So you lay that moral foundation. Now, as they begin to communicate, what they say will have to hit that filter, and on the other side will be what their communication should become. But that moral filter is set up by you, mom and dad. You don't, the child adjusts to that filter. You don't adjust the filter to that child. Granted, if you have multiple children, I don't know you. Um, if you have multiple children, you'll parent them different because of their personalities. But because of that moral filter, they'll still eat no matter who their personality will have to run into that. And their communication will still be a reflection of the moral filter you have set. But what's happened is parents have, in the spirit of not infringing upon their child's boundaries, they've hands off and dismissed. I explained this the other day. Hands off doesn't mean hands off, look away. Hands off means you keep your hands off, but you watch. Like when you first taught your child to ride a bike, you watch and make sure they stay steady. When they start to go off path, then you assist them. You take your hands back off. But that's not what occurred. And now we have kids making decisions off emotion because that's all they know. I watch it every day. I watch it every single day. And it's sad to see because when you meet the parent, you see why the child is that way. And it hurts me because like that means somewhere along the line you got too scared to parent, or you, just like I said earlier, you put yourself in a space that your child no longer occupies. It no longer lives in space. So That's where parenting gets tricky. That's where parenting gets tricky. But nobody, and the sad part is, if you notice, right, there's very few like quote unquote parent experts because parents get so roll with the punches that you do get people who are insightful enough to know about the different complexities of youth and be able to speak into those spaces as it pertains to how they might engage in their relationship with their parents. I've been around enough kids to know that the communication struggles oftentimes because kids change so fast. But you find yourself trying to stay in the fray, but you shouldn't. You should not. When your child changes, take a step back and watch. When your child changes, take a step back and watch. Because you can't be in the fray. You'll be too close to see the complexities. You'll be too close to see what does what when it does it, how it does it, who it's around when it does it. Like you won't be able to see that if you get too close. You have to observe your child from a distance. Listen to changes in speech pattern. They pick up their speech patterns from their peers. My daughter has an accent now that I don't recognize, but then when I go down to get her, I hear it in her friends. So I'm like, I get it. Because that's how it was with us. Parents have amnesia. Remember when you were a kid? No, let me tell you what that was like. It was you, a group of your friends, trying not to be seen. That's mom. Trying not to be seen. Near the boys you were trying not to be seen by. And here's us over here huddled up like, yo, look at them trying not to be seen by us, but I'm trying to see them no one for real, for real. Like you don't remember that? You don't remember that primal courtship that looked like the Serengeti Plains, where you had the young bucks and the young does watching and they start frowning. That's what it is. That's what you're seeing. Do not interfere when it's not harmful. A lot of times parents be touching stuff that don't belong to them, i.e. situations or sometimes for real personal stuff. Stay out of your child's personal stuff if you don't have a reason to be in their personal stuff. I can't teach you how to parent. If you have a kid that's problematic, yes, dig into their personal affairs when they're not around, for sure. You have a right when it looks problematic. If it does not, leave it alone. Because if you interfere and they know you interfere without reason, you've now created a fracture. You've done it. You've done it. I know you've done it. But the crazy thing is, I haven't. Do you know why? Because it wasn't done to me. So I know what it's like to have that freedom. So when I conveyed that message to my child, I told her about those freedoms and I told her what comes with that. Freedom comes with sacrifice and a price. Those two things are not the same. Sacrifice is give up, price is paid for. If you want freedom, you have to prove your price. For real. If you want freedom, you have to sow your sacrifice. You have to give something up. See, kids don't know that. I'm telling you, young, freedom comes with a price and a sacrifice. You have to prove your price. You have to show us that you deserve this freedom. So we give it to you. We dispense it slowly. We see what you do with it. If you do well, but we warn you at that final stage of freedom that's out of sight, out of distance, out of parental care. We warn you of that freedom, young. We tell y'all, you should hear it. No matter how the message comes across, there are environmental dangers where you're going. Be mindful. It's not always safe. It's not always cool. Parents, stop panicking. Stop making your kid afraid of the world because you want to keep them close to you. You don't need that much control. You know what? By and by, control freaks wind up losing everything. Do you know why? Because you can't hold everything at once. Have you tried it? It is so uncomfortable. I am a multiple trip taker now in my older age when it comes to grocery shopping. I will take that 4 or 5 light trips versus the one arduous heavy trip. You bugging. That's dumb. You're willing to risk hurting yourself so you can prove you can do it in one trip. I watch people try to prove they can do it in one trip every single day, supervising people, and they always hurt themselves. Guess who always has to come and fix the hurt? It's annoying when people in your life, not occupational stuff, because the job is the job. I love my job. But when people in your life are occupational hazards unto themselves, but they don't know it, but you do and you see it, it's burdensome. It's burdensome. It's like I know eventually I'm gonna have to come rescue you from yourself. I have coached my daughter to not be somebody who makes rash decisions, so people have to do that. I've also taught her to keep her composure. Parents, keep your composure so your children can be people who keep their composure. What are you yelling for? I'm not talking about vocal projection. I'm talking about shouting. What are you raising your voice to communicate for? What has it availed you? Not a damn. Not a damn. Seriously. Pardon my français. Is that French or is that more Scandinavian? I feel like it's Scandinavian. Yeah, there's definitely some Scandave in there. Oh, oh, close out. Nobody wanted to. Okay, here we go. We out. Cool. Splash. Oh, of course not. Yo, slow this down. Slow this down. I said slow it down. Let's stop playing defense. How you what was that? Puberty? How you respond to your environment largely dictates how your interactions go and their outcomes. Resolution is so much easier than the opposite. I don't understand the mindset of people who say, "Oh, it's good to have a good argument sometimes." It's not. You really could just have a regular old exchange of thoughts and get the same thing accomplished, if not more. Because after you have that exchange of thoughts and then you realize there are common thoughts, you start to talk about those common thoughts. You start to talk about the ideas that develop in those common thoughts. So much more can come from that. The moment you make amends, you can now make a bridge, which you might. There's so much. there's so much. There's so much more we could be getting out of our social interactions that we don't get. 8 times out of 10, when I have a social interaction that involves me being around somebody for more than 15 minutes, I immediately try to find out what we have in common. Immediately. The differences are on the surface if there are any. I mean, there are obvious aesthetic differences, but yeah, like I don't know, man. I don't understand people that go into the world always wanting friction. That's crazy to me. I promise you, the only negative interactions I have are the ones that I want to have. Last one I had was at Walmart in Punxsutawney. I was doing something. I was blogging. Somebody said something slick to me. I said, hold on. So I start, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, it wasn't aggressive. It was aggressive. But yeah, like, don't play with me. Who you talking to? Like, that's as deep as it gets. Because if I say, don't play with me, who you talking to, and you take it a step further, and I say, so now what? If I say who you talking to, and you say you, and I say now what? It's up to you now. Because if I say now what, I'm already ready to pop on you. That's just me being real. I don't start fights. I walk you into a situation where you have to make a decision. Oh, don't play with me. Who you talking to? You. Now what? Don't put your hands no kind of way. Just remain neutral. He got to decide. I don't want to talk. That's now what? But I don't find myself having those. But if I did, that would be my approach. People are too offensive. You got to put the ball in other people's court. Make them make the decision, especially if you feel like you are an adequate or beyond adequate decision maker, right? If 8 out of the 10 decisions you make land you in a positive space, you're an elite decision maker. 5 out of 10, anything below that, you shouldn't make decisions. Because if you five, you could be seven. You know what I'm saying? If you five, you could be seven real quick. Seven makes you above average. 7 to 8 right there, that's just a learning curve. From 8 to 10, that's on you. That's your own personal development. You know what I'm saying? That's how you walk that through. Yo, like seriously, let me teach you some stuff. I don't know. Let's be real. Where's my water? It disappeared. Bye bye. Oh, hey, nope. Slide through. That's funny. Oh goodness gracious, man. You just want to be great, you know? Sure, like this.